Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Racing Studio. My name's Jonathan Lev. I'll be the Racing Studio host. This will be our first news feed. So let's get into it. First big piece of news is Audi. Audi went ahead and already provided the announcement that they're joining Formula One for 2026. Obviously, that probably won't be the delivery that they will be looking at, but this is what they have right now. But at the same time, now that they have announced their entry, Alfa Romeo's partnership with Sauber is coming to an end. From what my understanding is, Audi will probably start being part of Sauber as of 2023, but as a complete package for 2026. So that's the biggest piece of news as of today. Audi joining already, or at least announcing that they have made their decision. Toto Wolff believes that the arrival of Audi and Porsche will only make F1 tougher. Now, what does that mean by tougher? I'm assuming it's going to be much more competitive. I wouldn't say lucrative for teams, but definitely a way for them to become much more competitive within themselves. Following up on what transpired recently with Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, and Daniel Ricciardo. As you recall, Alonso decided to leave Alpine. Alpine announcing that Oscar would be the replacement driver, which then Oscar went ahead and declined or denied, followed by Oscar Piastri entering McLaren. Now, today there's a lot of clarification. Obviously, Daniel spoke about leaving McLaren at the end of the year. They both worked hard in order to kind of make it work, but apparently between both sides, it was not possible. The car was not made to his driving style, and there was no way they could mold the driving style towards what he needs. The partnership doesn't seem that would have taken a different turn by the end of the year, based on what we've seen, based on, I'm sure, of what they discussed. But that also leaves to what will happen with Daniel. We are all expecting or supposing he will go to Alpine. Now, that's not a done deal. And did he leave in an amicable way? I think because there has been a change and they know the quality of a driver he is, they would be happy to have a caliber of a driver as Daniel Ricciardo. I believe Otmar would be happy to have Daniel, but I'm sure Otmar first has to clarify what's going to be happening with Oscar Piastri, which leads to the following. The case of Oscar Piastri will be discussed at the contract recognition board on Monday. So if he's allowed to switch to McLaren, Alpine considers suing the driver for the cost of his development program. Now, understand that there's been millions of dollars poured into Oscar Piastri to prepare him for Formula One, and as part of his agreements with Alpine to get some track time to kind of get into the loop of things. So we will see what will happen on Monday and moving forward. On another note, Sebastian Vettel did comment that he guessed that McLaren failed to extract the potential that he has. And that's something I do agree with. Not because they didn't try, but because the biggest issue that they had was that the car did not suit Daniel. It doesn't mean that it suited Lando Norris, but definitely did not suit the driving style of Daniel. Now, he didn't forget to drive from one day to another. He is a top driver, as Christian Horner did explain. He won Monaco with 50% power, I think in 2018. So he's not a second-hand driver. He is a quality driver, especially when he was on the sides of Sebastian Vettel, even Max Verstappen at his younger age. So he is a quality driver. Now, like Sebastian said, did McLaren fail to extract the potential? Yes. I think the car did not suit him in what he needed, and they could not find a balance. Has Daniel lost his edge? Christian Horner did express that, he's not the same driver, and definitely he's not. He's lost, I don't want to say he's lost his mojo, but he's lost some of his confidence, which he could get back, and I think he still is the driver that he says he is. Now, Alonso moving to Aston Martin. Now, one of the reasons why he moved to Aston Martin is because he believes that there is a potential based on what they're building and how much they're investing Now, that doesn't mean that next year they'll be front runners, and that doesn't mean that he's going to be winning championships or titles. But it is a project that provides him an opportunity to look ahead. I mean, he is 41. He's still hungry as ever. Hopefully win a third championship, a third title. Would that be possible? A lot of it depends on the car. We know he has the ability. We know he has the right conditions to be a champion, but he needs the car. Aston Martin provides him the opportunity to do so. As you see in the article, you win or you don't. It doesn't matter, if you're 4th or 9th or 13th, you either are first or you're not winning. All these drivers want to win. Reaching the podium in itself isn't amazing. Winning a race is amazing. Winning a title is spectacular. But having, as an example, Lewis Hamilton or Michael Schumacher winning 7 titles, that's something extraordinary. So, yeah, I believe Alonso still has it in him, and he's looking for that potential. The expansion of teams in Formula One. Now, we've heard of Andretti wanting to go into Formula One. They're doing everything possible to make it happen. They have the financials set in place. They're looking for locations to build the cars. He's been trying. Andretti Autosports has been trying, but as Stefano Domenicali says, he believes Formula One doesn't currently need an 11th entry, even though Andretti's trying. They want to follow protocol. They want to be able to keep it that way for many reasons. He's trying to present his idea in a way that he thought is the right way to do it, but like Domenicali says, he believes there is a governance in place which should have precedence, and the decision has to follow the protocol that is in place. A lot of the discussion is having an 11th team means less money for other teams, means a smaller pool for everybody. So there has to be an added value. That is one thing that needs to happen, is an added value. Now, will that added value happen? Who knows? Now, Williams also willing to continue with Latifi, which is a strong statement by Jose Capito. Now, will that happen at the end? I don't know, but he says that they're willing to continue with Latifi next year if he performs well in the upcoming races. So there's a potential that Latifi could stay for next year. That would be very interesting. Should be the case. Mick Schumacher. A big discussion, a big story right now on will he stay in Haas, will he not stay in Haas. Gunther Steiner was very clear that he has a potential to stay, but there is things that he needs to prove within the year in order to do so. Remember that Haas has looked into speaking to Daniel. There are other potential drivers that might be interested. So Gunther Steiner has options should he choose to ask. Now, will those options choose Haas? That's a different story. We'll see what happens with Mick Schumacher. Will he stay? Will he go? Leave a comment below on that. I believe Mick Schumacher should stay. But if Daniel does not find a seat in Alpine, Belgian GP, will he go to Haas? Some modifications have happened in order to make it safer for drivers. Now, a lot of it the layout of the track has not changed. It's really, they've expanded space for drivers to be able to, should they slide out and whatever the case is. They've added gravel to many of the corners. In order to I think some of the drivers said it's wonderful because it forces the drivers to stay on track and not feel comfortable that they can actually leave off track with no penalties. Leaving on the gravel is going to be a huge penalty for many drivers, especially in the first corner. So we'll see what happens in the race. But the changes they've made I think they've been a great improvement for safety and also for racing. As a reminder, and I'm glad that I find this post, Spa-Francorchamps is a 7-kilometer racetrack. A 7-kilometer racetrack. It's the longest circuit on the current F1 calendar. So it's an amazing racetrack, and this is one that I believe suits Red Bull. And we'll see how that looks like as we see information from practice 2. As always, every year, Pierre Gasly always pays tribute to Antoine Hubert, who passed away due to a crash that happened in Spa-Francorchamps. You could see Pierre always paying tribute again by placing a bouquet trackside at Spa. I know some other drivers went ahead and also paid their respects. As of 2023, the French Grand Prix is not going to be part of the calendar. We'll see what other racetracks won't be in the calendar. For now, I believe Spa will be in for next year. It's going to be in a particular rotation system, which is going to have several other racetracks involved. But the French Grand Prix is going to be part of this rotational system. Talking about some upgrades, Mick Schumacher will run the new Haas upgrade package at Spa. They also expect him to take a new Ferrari PU. We'll get into how many people are taking PUs. So as we're looking here, we have, floor specs for Mercedes and FP1. You could see Russell's and you could see Hamilton's. Now, they're going to be floor specs they're going to be testing out, see if it works. Did it try it for P1? I don't know how it worked for them. They are off the pace based on what Verstappen has created, but we'll see. But yeah, that's upgrades for Mercedes. We have Alpine with a low downforce wing. I think that's what they're going to be using for the weekend. Same thing with McLaren. Their new rear wing and beam wing for McLaren, both low downforce specs. Aston Martin has gone ahead and brought two of them. One that has these dipping curve, as you can see in this one. And there's one that's a flat or straight one. So I'm sure that this dipping curve one, which is a lot flatter for low downforce rear, there, as was mentioned, I think, will be used probably in Monza. So they're testing it to have it for sure for Monza. Again, here you have the 55th anniversary from livery for Mercedes. Even Alfa Romeo is trying a trimmed rear wing. So a lot of the teams are doing a lot of trimming on the rear wing. Here you have Ferrari as well, using a low downforce rear wing and beam wing as well. So one of the things I wanted to discuss for right now was the second practice classification. As you can see on the time charts, Max Verstappen 8 seconds in front of Charles Leclerc, 0.8 of a second. That's a lot. Now Max Verstappen is driving amazing, but I'm sure between the upgrades, the power of the engine, the tracks that suits the car, and Max himself, I think 8/10 is what we're looking at. Now we'll find out tomorrow between practice 3 and qualifying where the difference really lie. I mean, one of the things that happens also with Mercedes, as you can see, they are 1.3 and 1.5 seconds in 6 and 8, is at least Mercedes gets a lot closer on Saturdays. We'll see where everybody lies in practice 3 before qualifying, but 8/10 in practice 2, it's a huge difference. So now that we've gone through all these this news information and whatnot, I'd like to make the predictions for qualifying tomorrow as of today. Who do you think is going to be 1, 2, and 3? Now we understand that Verstappen is not going to be pole sitter. Charles Leclerc is not going to be up there as well because they're going to be at the end of the grid. So who do you think is going to be, who's going to be on pole? Interesting. Stroll has been strong. Norris has been strong. So I'll take it as this. I'll do Hamilton P1, Norris P2, George Russell P3. We'll see what happens with Sainz. If Sainz doesn't take any penalty, then my second option would probably be Sainz P1, Lewis P2. Again, I think it's going to be George P3, Lando P4. I don't see Sergio having enough. For some reason, he doesn't have a handle on the car, so that's my take on what's going to happen this weekend. But we'll see. We'll see tomorrow, and then we'll discuss. Again, I thank you guys for joining me for this first discussion of let's call it first session with the Racing Studio. I look forward to having more of these. Work out all the kinks that we have, either video issues or mic issues, even understanding the news and organizing the news a little bit better. I thank you for listening, and I hope to bring you more news, events, discussions for the race weekends and during the week. Again, thank you so much for your time. Take care.